We were 3 months out from the wedding when I first heard about what she said. Not through her, of course. Through Darren, one of her bridesmaids' husbands, who pulled me aside after a dinner at their place. He looked uncomfortable, like he didn't want to be the one saying it, but he also didn't want to pretend he didn't hear it. I appreciated that. She said what? Something like I'd cheat too if I was her. Talking about her friend Marissa cheating on her fiancé. And the way she said it, like it made sense. Like she got it. I drove home with that phrase on repeat in my head. Not because it was shocking, but because it made too much sense. Because it lined up with other things I'd ignored. Little remarks, odd silences, stories that didn't quite match when she told them twice. I didn't blow up. I didn't accuse. I just let it marinate for a few days while I paid attention. We lived together. I worked from home, she didn't. I had time to think. Too much time. Let me be clear about something. I wasn't perfect. I wasn't neglectful, I wasn't controlling, but I did what a lot of guys do. I assumed loyalty meant the same thing to her as it did to me. That once we agreed to be exclusive, once we got engaged, that was the line. You don't cross it. You don't joke about it. You don't empathize with cheating. And if your first instinct when your friend steps out is, I get it, instead of, that's wrong, something's already broken. The more I thought about it, the more I saw the signs. She had this habit of keeping certain male friends in a separate category. Not quite friends, not quite exes. Guys who'd flirt in comments, guys who sent heart emojis. And her response was always, it's nothing. But it wasn't nothing. It was testing the line. Seeing how close she could walk to it before I said something. And when I did, she'd get defensive. Accuse me of being insecure. Jealous. Paranoid. I started looking back. The night she got drunk at her friend Cassie's bachelorette and never called. I remember how she waved it off. My phone died, she said, but later she told Cassie she lost it. Then a month later she said she left it in the Uber. 3 versions. Same story? Back then, I didn't want to pick a fight. But I should have. The real turn came when I asked her about the quote. Calmly. Just us. I said, hey, Darren said you made a comment about cheating, that you'd cheat too if you were Marissa. She paused for a second too long. Then smiled, all casual. It was a joke. You know I don't mean stuff like that. Why would you joke about that? She shrugged. Because Marissa's guy is a tool. Honestly, I get why she did it. He treats her like crap. If you were in her shoes, you'd probably cheat too. I stared at her. So you weren't joking? She got quiet. Real quiet. Then said, don't twist my words. And that was the moment. The click. I saw it for what it was. Not just the comment, but the way she brushed it off. The shift in blame. The way she never once said, I wouldn't do that to you. It was all justification. All deflection. I didn't blow up. I just started shifting. I talked to a lawyer. Quietly. Just to know my options. We weren't married yet, but we'd merged a lot of finances. I'd helped her pay off her car. The ring wasn't cheap. I wanted to understand what happened if we split before the wedding. No drama. No mess. Just clean. I stopped paying for things automatically. I watched how she reacted. She noticed. And suddenly the affection dropped off. Not all at once, but enough that I could see the connection between money and mood. When I wasn't providing like before, she pulled back. I asked her about it. She said she was stressed. Work. Wedding planning. Her cycle. The excuses piled up. And behind each one was something uglier. 2 months before the wedding, her bridesmaid Emma pulled out. Just said she couldn't do it anymore. Wouldn't explain. Then Michelle followed. Then Haley. All 3 of them distanced themselves. One of them blocked her. I asked her what happened. She snapped. They're being jealous. They hate seeing other people happy. Then I saw the texts. I wasn't looking for them. Her iPad was on the kitchen counter, synced to her phone. Messages popping up while she was in the shower. I glanced. Then I read. One of them, Emma, had texted her. "You can't expect us to stand by you if you're just going to defend cheating. That's not what we signed up for. You said you'd do the same thing if you were her. That's not okay." She replied. "You don't get it. If you were in my position, you'd understand." Another message, different friend. "I can't pretend this is a fairy tale when you keep hinting that you're only with him because it's the smart choice. That's messed up." I felt my stomach drop. Physically. Like I swallowed a rock. Smart choice. That phrase. I'd heard it before. Out of her mouth. Months ago. She said being with me was a mature choice. That she was. Done with toxic guys. That I was. Safe. I thought it was a compliment. But in hindsight, it was a placeholder. She settled. And she resented it. I gave it one last shot. I laid it out. Asked her if she even wanted this. Us. The marriage. The life we were building. I said, "If you feel like you're settling, just tell me. We can call it. I won't hate you. I'll respect you more if you're honest." She got quiet again. Always quiet when the truth was on the line. Then she cried. Not from sadness. From fear. Fear of losing the house, the stability, the ring, the image. And then came the guilt trip. "You don't know how hard I've worked to make this wedding happen. You don't get how much pressure I'm under." I listened. I didn't argue. But inside I was done. I told her the wedding was off. I didn't do it over text. I said it in person. Calm. Firm. No yelling. I told her I'd help cover the cancellation fees. That she could keep the ring if she needed it. But I was out. The next few weeks were ugly. Her mom called me. Her sister sent this long-ass email about how I ruined her life. She posted some vague story about betrayal. But her friends? The ones who dropped out? They reached out privately. Said they were glad I got out. Said they hoped I found someone who actually valued me. That hit different. It's been 8 months. I'm in a smaller place. Simpler. Quiet. I cook for myself. I see my friends more. I sleep better. My money goes where I want it to. Last I heard, she tried to date someone new. Didn't last. Word got around. She still makes the same jokes. Still plays the victim. Still doesn't get why her old circle won't come back. I don't wish her pain. But I do hope she sits with the echo long enough to hear herself clearly. As for me? I stopped picking partners based on potential. I stopped ignoring the small stuff. I listen when people show me who they are. And I keep my peace above everything. Not one of them is in her wedding party anymore. Because there's no wedding. There never was going to be. Not really. There was just a man holding up the whole thing, thinking it was love, when it was just scaffolding for someone else's image. And now, I'm building something real. For me. It's funny how quiet life gets when there's no more emotional chaos filling the corners. I noticed the silence the first few nights in my new place. No more passive-aggressive banging of cabinets. No more arguments bleeding into bedtime. Just my own breathing, the hum of the fridge, and the creak of the floor when I moved. At first, it felt eerie. Then it started to feel like peace. I rearranged the furniture in ways that made sense to me. No aesthetic compromises. No checking Pinterest boards for couples decor. I bought a used workbench and set it up in the garage. Started fixing things, old lamps, a busted guitar amp, stuff I'd ignored. Every time I fixed something, it felt like taking back a piece of myself. I started journaling again, but not just about the breakup. I wrote about patterns. The ways I stayed quiet in past relationships to keep things smooth. The things I noticed but ignored because I wanted connection more than clarity. I listed them out like red flags on a spreadsheet: deflects responsibility, weaponizes affection, doesn't apologize unless cornered. It helped. I stopped romanticizing the past. One night, I found the folder with all the wedding planning stuff. It had been tucked in with some unopened mail. Guest lists, receipts, deposit slips, fabric samples. I sat with it for a bit. Then I tossed it. All of it. No rage, no ceremony. Just release. Greg came over a few nights later. We sat on the back patio with a cooler between us, watching the sky fade into night. "You know," he said, "you were already halfway out the door before it even blew up." "What do you mean?" "I mean, the version of you that existed around her? That wasn't the full you. You'd already started disappearing." I nodded. Took a sip. He was right. I'd shrunk myself to fit into something she didn't even respect. I spent so long proving I was safe, I forgot to ask if I felt safe. Sometimes it's not the betrayal that breaks you. It's realizing you kept showing up for someone who wouldn't do the same. I went back to therapy. Not because I was falling apart, but because I wanted to stay whole. I talked about trust. About identity. About how easy it is to become the version of a man people expect, stoic, agreeable, unbothered, even when you're crumbling inside. My therapist said, "You don't have to bleed in public to prove you were cut." That line stuck with me. I've had a few dates since then. Some good. Some forgettable. But I walk into each one with my eyes open. I ask real questions. I don't sell a version of myself. I talk about what I value: clarity, loyalty, independence. And I listen for how they respond. The new girl, her name's Layla, we met through mutual friends. She's grounded. Direct. The kind of woman who doesn't need to prove she's different. She just is. On our third date, we got caught in the rain walking to our cars. I said, "We could run for it." She said, "Why? Rain's just water." That told me everything. I don't know where it's going. And that's okay. I'm not looking for a future to plug someone into. I'm building something with intention. With space. With room for someone to walk beside me, not behind or in front of me. Sometimes, late at night, I still get those flashes of memory. The fights. The gaslighting. The way she used silence like a weapon. But they don't sting anymore. They don't control me. They're just reminders, lessons that stuck. And maybe that's the real win. Not the breakup, not the new relationship, not the new place. The real win is not losing yourself again. Not going back to sleep. Staying awake to the ways you compromise yourself when you're desperate to be loved. I'm not desperate anymore. I'm deliberate. And I've learned something else, too. Love isn't proven by how much pain you can survive together. It's proven by how much peace you can build together. No more scaffolding. No more saving someone from their own emptiness. If you don't show up whole, we don't build. This time, I'm not setting myself on fire to keep someone else warm. This time, the man at the center of it all, the man holding it up, is holding himself up first. And he's doing just fine.